Hello. I'm kind of cheating and I'm looking on YouTube and so I can see kind of what's going on and maybe even try to hopefully interact. I am a little sneezy today, but I just want to greet everybody and say, hey, happy Saturday. Let me tell you something. Sometimes we can get caught up in what is being reported to us, and we can move really far away from our own experience. Let me tell you something. I woke up this morning and I am well. I am breathing fresh air. I have everything that I need. God is good. And so I am choosing very powerfully not to allow myself in this moment to be caught up on a hype of things that have been reported to me. So that is how I'm choosing to show up in this space because I want to give you everything that I have in terms of how we can show up powerfully. So I thought the best way for me to do that is to lead by example. So I have been tasked with, and I hope somebody keeps track of the time for me and pull my coattail if I'm going too long. But I have been tasked with the opportunity to talk about something that I feel very at home, passionate about, and all of that. And I just want to go ahead and jump right in. So it is affirming your worth. And so, what I'm expecting to be able to do today is just to help you develop and broaden our capacity for worthy living through affirmation. So, in other words, how do you use affirmations to support our showing up powerfully in every area of our life? So, number one, we want to get in tuned with your worthiness journey. We want to gain clarity on the anatomy of an affirmation and then understand the value of speaking it out loudly. All right. So that's what I'm wanting to sort of focus this time on and just provide you with hopefully some tools and some resources and some helpful tips so that you can start incorporating affirmation in your life and in your lifestyle of worthiness. So, what you'll need, you know what, if you can, if you're sitting still in your home, take notes. So, things that you write down tend to stick with you easier. And even if they don't stick with you, they are more available for you to be able to come back to and reference at a later time. So, if possible, get your favorite journal or notebook and take some notes. Okay. Um, the other thing that I don't mind, I think Crystal is going to be monitoring. But if you have a question during this time while we're speaking, definitely use the chat, the live chat on YouTube to ask your question. And then I will try to leave some time at the end for us to be able to provide some feedback. A couple of questions that I want you to ponder as we're going into this are you currently using affirmations? And if you are, how? How do you incorporate and how are you using affirmations? And if you're feeling especially open, feel free to type that in the chat on YouTube as far as like your response. Otherwise, just think about it. Think about that. And then the next question is, are you showing up powerfully? And if so, to what extent? Would you say you're kind of at a lower level, at a medium level, or a high level? I like to kind of give some variation there, but just kind of think, okay, you know what? Do I walk in the room and feel like I own the room? Do I shy away? Do I want to find a corner? Do I want to hide? Do I tend to not even to withdraw from opportunities to interact with people and participate in things because Yeah, I just kind of feel a little bit less confident. So, those are things that I want you to think about as we're going into this. And so, I'm going to give you sort of an idea about kind of where you can start with affirmations based on where you feel like you are. All right. So, with that being said, the first thing that I want to kind of talk about, just touch on, because we're not really going to delve deep into the worthiness piece, but I wanted to touch on it a little bit and then spend most of the time on affirmation. All right. So when we think about worthiness, I like to describe it as when you're a baby, we all came here as this bundle of joy, worthy of love and care, and just being treated special. And inside of that bundle of joy, I believe that we have a light that was placed on the inside of us. And that light is for us to use and share. Some people call it a gift, some people call it a purpose. Whatever the case may be, I believe that if I were to just sort of sum it up for today, worthiness is this inner burning, shining quality that we all possess. Now, it might be covered up, it might be distracted, it might be worn down, or whatever the case may be, but I believe it is always still there. All right, so we're not going to spend too much time on that. However, if you are finding that, you know what, I don't even know my worthiness, I don't feel worthy, and you need support, then definitely make a note and or send me a message and reach out. Reach out to me. That is an area where I have expertise in supporting women. So for today, we're going to encapsulate this sort of inner light into a term that I call personal power. Okay. So we're going to focus on worthiness in action, meaning we show up powerfully. So my whole point and sort of spin on this idea of speaking your worth, affirming your worth, is about showing up in our lives powerfully. Okay. And what I mean by showing up powerfully is that you allow the you that shines to shine brightly everywhere you go. That's at work, that's at home, that's at the grocery store, is at church, is when you're alone by yourself, whatever the case may be. Now, the reason why I like to think of it as light is because light gets rid of darkness. And so I want all of us to leave here understanding and knowing and receiving that we do have a light that can shine on any dark place that we might be experiencing in our life, especially, in the time that we're having right now. All right. So, what is an affirmation? All right. So, an affirmation is something that connects you to your subconscious mind, that helps you to create something that is not already there. And Crystal talked about this, like our words mean something, they're important, they're the way that we create. If we take an example of just how God operates, it is in our speaking, in our confession, if you will. So I have an example of when I used an affirmation. Recently, I had to sit for a licensure exam, which was humongous, a huge hallmark in my life. And so I used an affirmation. I said to myself every single day, in order to, one, just sort of support myself through getting through like anxiety and worry. So that's a great use for affirmation, is that when you're feeling especially worried or anxious about something, having an affirmation that you can use to combat that is very important. And of course, I'm sitting here as a licensed clinical social worker. So that tells you that I did pass my test, right? All right. So also, affirmation encourages a belief in certain things about ourselves. Okay. So it's encouraging you to believe that you are great, that you are powerful, that you are wonderful, that you do have a light, that you're lovable, all of those kinds of things. Also, belief about the world. Okay. Right now, we're being given a lot of information about the world um, that may sort of prove to be negative. And we're going to address that here in a second. All right. And then lastly, it's ourselves, the world, and then our place in the world. Okay. So, what you want to do, and this is something that you might want to write down or think about, is ask yourself, what do I want to believe about myself? What do I want to believe about the world? And what do I want to believe about my place within the world? So these are questions that sort of prompt you to start digging in and reflecting and getting the information that you need to start working on affirmation. All right. And then lastly, affirmations help us to create the reality that we want in terms of attracting wealth, love, beauty, joy, health. I mean, and the list goes on. Anything that you want in your life. I really wanted to pass my licensure exam. So I use an affirmation along with, of course, studying. But whenever I started to shake or feel uncomfortable or like, oh God, I don't know if I'm going to pass this, I would speak the affirmation over myself, as I stated earlier. Okay, so I have said a lot. Um, and happy Saturday, Athena. Let me see. Yep. Thank you for joining us. All right. So just happened to look over there and see somebody greeting me. Okay. So now that we've kind of talked about affirmations and what they are and how they're useful, now I want to talk about the anatomy. Okay. So it's a feeling, a state of being or action, and then the impact. And we're going to put that in sort of a phraseology. So it's I am, and then however you want to feel. So you would fill that in. And it's that I, whatever state of being or action that you're taking. So, like, how do I want to feel? And then about what do I want to feel that feeling? And then the last part is impact. So, as a result of my action or state of being, I have these feelings and I make an impact. Okay. So, what I'm saying to you is that, for example, it would look like I am overcome with joy and gratefulness that I show up powerfully in every area of my life. And as a result, the world is a better place. So I am overcome with joy and gratefulness. That's the feeling. That I show up powerfully. That's the state of being and my action. And I'm doing it in every area of my life. And then as a result, the world is a better place. So this is an example of an anatomy of an affirmation that I could say to myself every single day to create the type of experiences that I want to have in every area of my life. Okay. So for you, that in this particularly, you can make affirmations on health, on well-being, on relationships, but we're talking about worthiness today. So I'm specifically focusing it on our personal power. So this is an example. Okay. All right. So now I want you to just have a couple of tips of just knowing sort of like pitfalls that you can kind of get into when it comes to affirmations. So, affirmations are to be stated positively and in the now. So, notice I didn't say, I want to feel this way, or I wish that, or I hope, or I'm trying. It was stated in the very present and stated positively. So, there's not, I don't want, it's what I do want. So you want to watch for these distractions. All right. So we have negative self talk, which some of you may have heard of that, your inner critic, and then also the voice of reason. Okay. So we have negative self-talk. So when we have this kind of voices in our head, these are the voices that sort of remind you of your past mistakes. So like, oh girl, now you know you not good at deadlines. I don't even know why you trying to pretend like you about to, get that test done. Affirmations are for the right now. They are taking you to a new reality. So they are not about anything that has happened in the past. Okay. And then the inner critic. Okay. The inner critic will be that one that sort of evaluates your skills, abilities, and accomplishments, and sort of allow kind of get you to judge those things as being subpar to what you desire. So some people, if they're about to take a test such as what I had to do, they may say, um, oh, I'm not really good at taking tests. Well, an affirmation are in support of your growth and your potential for greatness rather than looking at limitations. Okay. So that leads us right on down to that voice of reason. It's like, well, um, you may already be thinking, well, I'm not going to say something if it's not true. Affirmations are about speaking into something and creating something new that doesn't exist. So it is a way for you to move yourself from what may be seeming to be logical and realistic to something that may be that you may feel is a little unattainable, and that might be even bigger than what you feel like you can handle. It's not going to hurt you to actually say the words, right? What's the worst that can happen if you speak something powerfully over yourself? All right. So, with that being said, I want you to start where you are. Okay. So if you are somebody that just feels really like, I don't know, I struggle with my self esteem. I'm not really sure how worthy I am. I think Crystal was sort of being really transparent and honest about that. Then for you, you might be at that low level. And a low level just means that your affirmation could look like this. It could look like, I am excited and open to experience the fullness of my worth in all aspects of my life. And as a result, I love myself unconditionally. So that might be where you want to start. It's just speaking that I am going to experience my worth. I am excited and open to experience the fullness of my worth in all aspects of my life. And as a result, I love myself unconditionally. And then for the person that might be not as in that space but may not be feeling as confident as they want to, what I would call a medium, your affirmation could be, I am grateful and confident in the powerful woman I am, and as a result I show up powerfully. So that could be the one that you want to start with. So it's sort of taking yourself to the next level. It's like, where am I at now, and where do I want to go? All right. And then if you are at a high level, you could start with the example that I gave. I am overcome with joy and gratefulness that I show up powerfully in every area of my life. And as a result, the world is a better place. Okay. So I want to sort of like pause now and just sort of see if there's any comments or questions. Hi, Arnett. Thank you for joining us. Um, so this is sort of the sum of kind of where I want us to begin as far as affirmations are concerned. If you are using affirmations already, you might add the as a result to it if you're not already using that. And what I want to do right now is just, I think, I'm probably about at my time. So I just want to just say I'm honored and just really grateful for the opportunity to step away from sort of the panic and some of the things that we've been inundated. I mean, just crowded in with all sorts of like negativity about being unwell. And I'm excited to just pour a little positivity back into us today. And so I just want to leave you with what my affirmation is for this time. And that is I am honored and exhilarated that I show up powerfully, living my God given purpose to annihilate oppression and powerlessness. And as a result, everybody that I come in contact with breaks free from powerlessness. And so I just want to tell you to show up powerfully and reach out if you are looking for support in this area. I do have a self care, self love monthly group that's coming up on the 22nd from 4 to 6. And you can reach out for more information about that. Also, on April the 18th, I am doing my very first full on half day empowerment workshop that delves deeper into all of these kinds of issues. And then some of the ladies that are on here are collaborating with me on Living My Words' very first full day retreat called Me Moment Healing Conversations About Mom. And that is July the 18th, and it's taking place at the Canyon Crossing um, beautiful lodge and cabin area in Sand Springs, so not too far. So, interest in any of those things, please leave a comment. Find me on Facebook. I do have a Living My Worth Facebook page, or you can just type in Cantice. So until next time, I just want to tell Crystal, thank you so much for having me and being so committed and dedicated to this work of women's empowerment. Thank you, Tamora, for hosting me. And I'm just really excited and honored to be a part of the panel of the other lovely ladies that are going to be bringing you information today. So, unless there are any questions, that is all I have.
All right. Well, Cantice, that was so
Thanks.
powerful and so meaningful. I actually wrote down some notes. One of the things that I like to say, you said speaking worth into your life, is I always like to use the term "I'm unstoppable." Because if you don't
Yes,
think that you're unstoppable, then you're not. People are going to be able
yes,
to stop you, because we're going to face those winds and storms and negativity and people that say that you can't. But you got to make the mind up, as you said. Is, hey, you got to affirm yourself, and that's
yes,
I had to
yes.
learn, is regardless of what anybody else said, I have to know that I'm unstoppable. And one other point that
I
you made that
love
I
that.
really like
Unstoppable. I love that.
is you said something about walking into the room, and I used to have a group that was called Women of Thunder, and I need to get that group back. It's one of the things that I feel that every woman should walk with thunder. I didn't say talk with thunder. I said walk with thunder. And you mentioned that when you walk in the room, just who you are, just your presence to illuminate.
Yes.
People's like, who is that? Like, all
Mm-hmm.
eyes is on you just because you walked in the room.
Yes,
And so I
yes,
appreciate what you were saying today. That's a very powerful statement, because just you showing up like on this forum made an impact. It was a powerful
yes,
statement just to show up and say, hey, I'm here. And now that I'm here, all attentions, not like you trying to boast or brag, but we
yeah,
do need to, exalt ourselves to a certain
yeah,
level, to be not, there's a difference of being full of pride and being proud of your moment. And this is a proud